Welcome, everyone. This is Nikki Keohoho. I'm so happy that you're here with us for our class for tonight. Please type into the chat box where you're joining us from and what are you most interested in learning about tonight, because it's important that we understand what brought you to the call. You kind of are probably looking at doing some things around sponsoring, which will be good. And we're going to be talking about that tonight, but there might be something else that is interesting to you. Yay, Ernestine from Mississippi, glad that you're with it. And Paula, glad you're going to make some breakfast over there. Yeah, I know you call it brekkie, but I'm glad that you're here. Darlene, happy to have you back again. Well, let's get started. So where are they hiding? How to master the hide and seek of sponsoring. I know some of you are thinking, I know there's people out there that are interested. Just where are they? They haven't found me yet. Well, guess what? They're probably not going to find you. You're going to have to find them, but it's okay. So here's the big news flash for the day. They really aren't hiding. Now, I play hide and go with my grandbabies all the time. So, it's funny because come out wherever you are is what we want to say to these people when we're looking to sponsor people. They're here. They're not really hiding. You maybe just haven't invited them yet. You maybe haven't asked them to come and connect with you yet. And that's up to you to make that happen. So who is looking for your opportunity? There are lots of people out there looking right now today. I want to give you a little bit of information around that too, because the gig economy is got some things going. So professionals, they're looking for something to do from their home. I think that the pandemic made people think. And when everybody started to get to work from home, they sort of liked that. So now they're looking at, wow, how can I make this happen? How can I work from home? How can I find a place where I fit and where it's a good spot for me? That's all part of kind of what's going on. So those professionals, we want to find them wherever they may be. Part of it is again, the gig economy, but a lot of people are on LinkedIn because that's the most professional place to go. And they want to work from home, and they want to be part of a team. They still want to have a feeling of team, and you're the person that can make that happen. So who's looking are a lot of people right now. A lot of people are looking. We just need to let them know we're looking. So if they don't know that we're looking for people, they don't know to even talk to us. So when you go out, do you wear your a pin or something that talks about your company? Do you have a bag that has the name of your company on it? Do you have something on your car so people can find you that way? How do you let people know that you are available? So who's looking? There's a lot of people looking. They just don't know that you're looking. So we got to somehow get that point across. I'm going to talk for a minute about the low-hanging fruit, because when most people sponsor people, the easiest people to sponsor are the low-hanging fruit. They're going to come around first, and those are the needy people. And it's easier to attract those people, but it may not be the best place for you to bring those people into the business. They might not be the best people for you to grow your business. The needy people need you. And sometimes we even open that door for needy people by saying, well, do you need some extra money? Don't ever ask somebody if they need extra money. Would you enjoy having some additional income in your household? Enjoy is a different word. Who do you know that would enjoy some additional income? So needy people want you to front them with product, front them with catalogs, do their sponsoring for them. They want you to do their parties for them. They want you to be in charge of them, because they don't really want to do that. They have a desire to have some income, but they don't want to do the work. So we're not looking for needy people unless you're looking for a very high maintenance individual. You can have one or two people that are needy, but that's it. You can't have a whole team of needy people because they will lean on you till you fall over. So that's not the best approach for you. That's the low hanging fruit. Try to stay away from that if possible and don't attract them. Because you know what we do is we say things like this to needy people. The product sells itself. So, well, they don't think they have to work. No, the product doesn't sell itself. The product doesn't, or we wouldn't need anybody out there selling it. So the product is sold because of you and because of them. So we don't want to say things like that to people. We'll attract the needy. How about when we say it's easy? This is an easy business. I'm going to tell you, it is not easy. It may be a simple, duplicatable process, but it is not easy because when we tell people it's easy, they don't think they have to work. And this is like any career choice that anybody has. It is a career. It's work. It means you got to go to work. So think about that. What are the messages that I'm sending to these needy people so I keep attracting the needy people? Watch your message that you're sending. Second, higher than the needy people are those with needs and an equal amount of desire. They have a desire to make money and they have a desire to do the job. They do have some needs. They need some additional income, or they need something to do. I don't know what their needs are, but they have an equal amount of desire to do the work. Those people we can take all day long. All day long. Those are people that are good to have on our team, and they make up a good percentage of direct sellers in our businesses globally. But I'm going to tell you what, you got to tell them the truth. You got to tell them the whole story. Don't give them, it's easy, or you don't have to do anything, or I'll be there every step of the way. That's another thing that we say. I'll be there every step of the way. I'll hold your hand. You're not going to be available 24/7. Please do not set up unrealistic expectations with people. So when we find people that have a need, it's finding out what is that? What is important to you right now in your life? What matters most to you? What would you like to have happen as the result of owning your own business? Remember, questions are the answer. We want to get really good with those questions so that we can attract these people. We can engage the people because we're not needing to convince them. The highest level people are the ready now people. Type into the box who you think might be a ready now person. What kind of an individual is a ready now person? Someone that has already got the skills, someone that already knows how to sell, someone that has previously been in direct selling, a lawyer, a doctor, someone that has sold before. Thank you, Sandy, for typing that in. Ready now people, you don't have to start with square one with how to communicate, how to speak to people, how to get up in the morning and go to work. Teachers are very good. Thank you, Darlene. Teachers are very good at this. The only challenge with teachers, and I'll say this as I was one, teachers want to keep teaching. So they're maybe not as good with coaching or the coach approach because they want to tell you everything because they're the ones with the answers. So, but they are very dedicated, they're loyal, they're respectful, they're kind. A lot of good things about teachers. Edie, thank you so much. It's a person who is eager to create income for a cause. You know, especially when you have a product or your company has a philanthropic approach to things, some sort of a cause, that's a good thing. And another one, Stacy says, people that give great service, those people are ready. They already know how to be of service to others. And that is the beautiful thing about this business. It is a service business. So anybody that has the heart for service is a ready now person, almost always, as long as they can communicate. Thank you. Lisa says, good work ethic. I love people with good work ethic. I was just talking to two of my granddaughters. We did a yard sale last weekend, and oh, it was so fun. And my granddaughter, she had a little sign out on the door, out on the street, and pointing at the garage or the yard. And this guy drives up, and I didn't know what he was doing. I thought, God, I hope he's not trying to pick her up. She's only 10. Anyway, he says, "How much for the yard?" And she looked at him for a minute. She goes, "Our yard is not for sale, but we have lots of great products." And I thought, boy, that was a good comeback. So they're learning how to do this. They're learning how to sell now. They're learning how to connect with people, how to communicate, not to be afraid to stand in front of people. All those things are good, ready now people, and they have good work ethic. Start with your children, your grandchildren now to teach them how to be a ready now person so that they have a lot of choices when they're ready to get a job or start working within your business. That's another possibility too. So ready now people. So where do you find prospects, good prospects? Where do you find people that are good at what we do? Where do they go? Well, that's a place where people are. You know, my sister, I remember sitting with her at her son's baseball game, and I said, "Oh man, Connie, this would be a great place for you to sell." And she says, "Oh, I've already got first base as a consultant, second base as a customer, third base has been a host, pitcher." I mean, the whole team was involved. So every time she went to that ball game, she was wearing business attire, and she had her catalogs in her bag and sample products to give to people. And it was interesting because she was interested in them. They found her interesting. So they asked her questions and she could ask them questions about them. So tell me about you. So she just sat at different places every time at the ballpark. Wherever there are people, there are prospects. Wherever there are people, there are potential people to join your team. You must connect with them if you want to open that door up. So I'm curious, type into the chat box, where have you found strong prospects? Where did you meet the last person that you engaged into your business? Where were they? Somebody said in the hospital, the person in the bed next to me. I just heard that recently. That wasn't in the chat box, but hopefully they're healthy. They were in the bed next to him and they got to know him really well. And they heard him on the phone. They heard what they were doing. And that person ended up enrolling. So, Sandy, thank you for letting us know that you're just starting. It's never too late to start sharing this product with other people. Renee says TikTok, our social media, of course. Social media, there's a lot of people out there looking, and you get to know a little bit about them before you reach out to them. Now, remember, social media isn't just to sell. Social media is to engage people and to get to meet them and build the relationship. Bridget says post office. It is so true. The post office, there's people that are doing things. They're there mailing things, and they see you in line sending off these beautiful little packages if you're mailing things, and they're curious about you. Talk to them. Of course, Darlene uses the VIP groups. What a great place to find prospects. They're already probably using your product. So that is a great place. Deborah says vendor events. And there's a lot of them that are taking place in the summertime and the fall especially. Get on the list for those events. Find out where they are and work your booth. That's a whole different topic. If somebody wants to hear about that, probably in the fall, we'll present that. How to really run a stellar booth to get engagement from people. It's important to know that. So a lot of you are finding them, but what I'm hearing or what I'm seeing here is you're doing things. The people that are sitting and looking at the phone going, I hope it rings. I hope somebody calls me and wants to join my team today. It's not going to happen. It isn't going to happen. You've got to make some effort towards this. Local cafe, absolutely. And whenever you're doing a sponsoring appointment in that cafe, set your products on the table. Have a catalog or two out there. You may engage somebody else that's there. Always be there early. So there are places, wherever there are people, when you show up and you're kind and you're nice and you notice people and you're interested in them, it's like wearing a sign that says, you want to work with me. Because people are tired of crappy bosses and you're not their boss. You get to work with them. You get to. I would like to learn more about stellar events. Okay, great, Deborah. Will you, if you think of it, to write back in August, and we'll make sure. I'll try and take that down after this, but I think September, because all those fall bazaars and things like that, that would be a really good time to get that. So thank you, Deborah. So you find strong prospects online, on LinkedIn, on other social media, in your VIP groups. If you have one on Facebook, a lot of people do it that way. You find them in your church, your child's daycare center, preschool, PTA, school events. They're everywhere. And you know what's interesting? My niece works in the business, and every time when she would go to pick up her son at school, she always was dressed professionally and she always looked busy and she always had product on the car seat when they bring the child out. And that person just asked, how could she work with her? She's off for the summer and she wants to find something else to do. You know, it's interesting when you have people that see that you are a strong person, that you have success in your life, that you have fun in your life, that you have a full life. Don't ever tell people you're busy. When somebody asks me, how you doing, Nikki? I go, oh, I have a full life and I'm so blessed. I'm telling myself that, and it's true. I'm also letting them know that you can have the same thing. So it's a good thing to have a full life. It's a good thing to run a successful business. Ernestine says the Chamber of Commerce. Sometimes it's kind of expensive to join, but they a lot of times will have free events or networking events. None of you mentioned networking events. They're back alive and well again. We certainly Happy Neighborhood Project is going well online. HPN, you can find that. They're all over the world. And local events are coming back around where they're actually people are face to face and networking. So I'm excited about getting back with people again. So there's a lot of places, but you've got to open your mouth, folks. You got to let people know you're in business. Don't keep your business a secret. If you're at the beach, if you're playing, wear your company shirt, something that has your logo, or from an event that you went to and you got a shirt. Do that at those casual places because people will ask you about it. Get them interested in you. So lots of places for prospects. So this is all going a little bit crazy on me. Just a minute. I'm getting down here. So what would make them want to join your team? Anybody have any thoughts on that? You can type it into the box. What would make people want to join your team? There are lots of things that make people want to join your team. One, you look like you're having fun. Maybe that you have a full life and they want to be a part of that. Maybe that they see you have a lot of friends on Facebook or other places. The big one, Julia, is right, that they like you. People want to do business with people that they like. They want to be your customer when they like you. You don't have to know every single thing about the product. They just want to like you. And then knowing about the product is a bonus. But don't think you have to know everything, especially for our brand new person. Boy, I'm proud of you for showing up tonight when this is something that you're just starting. Sandy Elliott is just starting the business and she showed up tonight. I mean, I'm excited for what you're going to do in the business. I think that's beautiful. Edie says, you make good suggestions. When you make good suggestions, I'm going to talk about that for just a minute because there are good suggestions. You could suggest a chiropractor. You could suggest your beautician. You could suggest a product that you've used or a product that you offer. But it's most important with your existing team that you not suggest to them what to do, but that you ask them what they choose to do. It's a different scenario because people don't join direct selling to have a boss. They joined direct selling to be working with exciting and fun people. So I'm going to tell you, I worked with a woman not very long ago that everything on her Facebook was work. Every single thing was about her business. And she was always selling something and doing. I said, how do people know that you have a life? And she said, what? I said, how do people know that you actually have a life outside of the business, that you have fun? How do people know that? And she stopped for a minute. She says, well, I guess if you looked at my Facebook, I wouldn't look very fun. And I said, what will it take for you to include some fun into your Facebook? Maybe you're going on a date with your husband tonight that you're paying for. Maybe that you're heading off to a conference and you're going to get to room with a couple of your really good friends in your business. Create curiosity with people so they want to be in your space. It's a beautiful thing when people want to be in your space. Stacy, I'm so happy that you're here from Larev. I haven't seen anybody from Larev for a while, so I'm really glad that you're here from Australia. This is a big Australian night. Good for all of you. So this, how do you engage versus convince, is the next part. Once you got people that are interested, how do you get them to engage in the business? The old style way was all about convincing. All about convincing. We convinced people that we had the best product. We convinced people that we had the best comp plan. We did all this convincing of people. And in reality, if you're convincing, you're losing. People don't want to be sold and told. People today want to be engaged. They want to willingly walk through the door. So open the door for them. And I know a lot of companies use the term close the sale, close the interview. I say open the invitation to take action. Open an invitation to take some sort of action. Because if you're in a conversation with somebody about joining the business and they say no to that, there's still lots of ways they can work with you. And that's the part that you want to make sure you've opened that door for them to come through as a customer, as a host, as a referral source. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I do know that if you are engaging people, they willingly walk through the door and make a decision to work with you, to work with you. When you are convincing people, they are being sold and they know that. So use a lot of questions, open-ended questions, and ask things of the person versus telling them, you're going to love this company. How do you know that? You don't even know them yet. So what do you think you would love about this company? What do you think you would like about this company? From everything that you know now, what do you like the most? So who, what, when, where, how questions. That's the questions to ask. That's how you engage people, folks, is with questions versus making a lot of statements. So less talking, more listening. You will engage more people. Less talking, more listening. Asking those open-ended questions. Who, what, when, where, how questions. What brought you to meet with me today? What interested you in this product? Who do you know now that has a successful home-based business that has worked out for them in their life? Because there's sometimes people think because you are in direct selling that you actually are a pyramid scheme. Don't let people tell you that. Is this one of those pyramid things? If somebody says that to you, just say, I'm so glad you asked. We're actually a direct selling company, and a pyramid is when there's no product being sold. And you can see here by our beautiful catalog how many different product lines we have. Which interests you the most? You spun their head around. Don't try to convince them that we're not a pyramid scheme. Educate them. Then they will be engaged. So there's a lot around that you can learn, and there's going to be some opportunities to do that. So ask yourself, what are my sponsoring goals? What do I choose to make happen around sponsoring? Some of you are in your last month of your year for your business. Don't give up on sponsoring. Yes, make your sales, but go after your sponsoring now, because you got to know what those goals are. And then what is your plan for those goals? How are you planning to make that happen? How many sponsoring appointments are you going to have in a month through this next year, or through the rest of this year, or whatever you have left? How many people are you going to talk to? How many people are you going to engage? How many people are you going to invite? How are you going to do that? When are you going to do that? Set yourself up for success. Sponsoring is nothing to be afraid of. In fact, you get to be with more people, more fun people. You get to be with people you can learn from. Sponsoring adds energy to your organization. It's like a gift. Share the gift of sponsoring with other people. I'm curious. Just type into the box for a minute. I know I'm running close on time. And Deborah says, I'm not a salesperson. I hear that often. You don't have to say you're a salesperson. You can say, Deborah, what kind of products do you sell? If you would type into the box, I'd like to respond to that, because when people think that you're a salesperson, they think they're going to be sold. But if you are teaching people, they take a step towards you. So let's say, for example, it was skincare. Okay, so for her, she's with a company that has a lot of beautiful gift items. I teach people how to accessorize and look great because they have these fun bags. I teach people how to simplify their lives. They're going to ask you a question about that. If you're with skincare, I teach people how to look younger longer. I teach people how to preserve their skin. I teach people how to get rid of the roadmap on their face. You really don't want to say that one, but you find what you teach. Those of you that are in nutrition, I teach people to live longer, healthier lives. There's a way to educate people. People don't mind education, but they don't want to be sold. So what are your sponsoring goals? You've got to have them, or don't expect to reach them. How people say they are not the sales type. How do you respond? Oh, these are good questions. I'm gonna come to that at the end. Ernestine, hang on, because I want to save that one. But I want to try to finish in our time frame, because this is a 30-minute class, this free class, and I always stay on because there's always people that want to be coached on things that are around it, or want to have a little more training or understanding about it. So I always stay on at least a half an hour afterwards. So I come back to those kinds of things. So what's next? Don't stop here. Get a plan for your sponsoring. Get a goal. Make your list of people that you haven't talked to yet, that maybe even don't even know that you're in your business, that you're the CEO or the general manager in Australia, you call it, of your own business. You are it. So you get to support people to figure this out. So what's next? We have a class called the Coach Approach to Sponsoring. It's going to be on June 27th and 29th. It's an hour and a half each night. It starts at 8 o'clock Eastern time in the US, which I think is still good for people in Australia. So there at the bottom of that, you can see there's a link that goes directly to that. It's a 2-part mini course, and you learn some coaching skills that will help you with your team too. But this is really how to use those same skills in sponsoring. And that link is dswa.org/CASP 2023. Coach Approach to Sponsoring 2023. CASP. Write that down or take a picture of this slide if you'd like to, so that we make sure that you can get to this next class. It's very reasonably priced, and it's a good class for you. There's also lots of other classes that are coming up. If you just go to DSWA.org/events, you'll see all the upcoming classes. And I want to stop sharing the screen, so hopefully you got that, so I can see everybody. And I'm going to put you in gallery here. And what I want to tell you is, I'm going to use this time for you. So if you have a question, a comment, or a limiting belief around sponsoring, something that has held you back, we certainly will work on this with everybody in the Coach Approach to Sponsoring. And some of you have already registered. And there's Miss Katie. Hi, Katie. How you doing? So everybody, if you have something you'd like to be coached around or a question to be answered from the training tonight, I'm happy to do this. Use this time for either training or coaching. So you can unmute yourself if you have something that you'd like to ask, or you can, oh gosh, I think I just saw Jeanette Farmer. She used to live in Hawaii and now in Las Vegas. I'm glad you're here. So who would like to speak first? I can't see all of you at the same time. So anybody that'd like to speak, or you can write into the
I have a
box.
question.
Yes, and who
I
was
have a
that?
question. This is Edie.
Hi, Edie. For some reason, you're sideways on my screen,
Oh,
but that's okay. I can see
okay.
you this way. Okay. Oh, she's
That one?
back.
Oh, good.
All right. What is your
Um,
question this evening?
So today I was talking with someone who's in a networking group that I'm in, and she said, you know, I'd like to talk with you sometime about your product. I'm a representative for Juice Plus, and I've known her for some years, and and so we conversed, and she said, well, one of the things that puts me off is that every person who sells something says this is the best. And so she said, so I don't know really how to determine which is the best. So I wondered if you had any recommendations about responding well to that. I thought later when I was driving home, well, you know, do you respect me? Do you trust me? That might be one reason to choose what I say rather than another person. But anyway, I would love to hear your perspective.
I happen to know your company pretty well, Edie, and have done some work through the years in both Australia and the US. And you have a lot of white papers and documentation and research. If that person is the behavioral style that would matter to. If you go with somebody that's very outgoing and talkative, and or someone that thinks they already know a lot about nutrition, that might not work.
Yeah.
But so if you said, I'm so glad that you asked, and it's probably not the time at that particular meeting. It's probably not the time, but to set a meeting and a time with her, get the meeting set, and then talk about what information would support you making the best decision for you. That little line, you making the best decision for you, is a very powerful line, because it's not what I think we're the best. In fact, what does that mean compared to who? Maybe you're better than the dollar store. I don't know. Now it's $1.25 in the US, but what compared to what? So you probably want to have a sense or a feeling of what they're looking for, and their behavioral style. The other thing that might happen when they say, I'd really like to talk to you about your product. What would you like to know? When we get together, what would be most important for you to find out?
Okay.
And you have a whole doctors panel with that company that may be important to them. I don't know. But you've got to ask a few more questions, but get the appointment. Remember making that appointment. I'd be excited to get to share with you how this product can be of support to you. I have next week, this is my full-time career, so I have a very full life. And I've got next week sometime. What days work best for you next week? Tuesday, morning or afternoon? Afternoon. 2:00 sound good? Great. I'll block that time off in my calendar and commit it to you. You Australians, you say your diary. We call it a calendar. I'll block that time off in my calendar and commit it to you. Will you do the same? We can do it either as a Zoom or we can meet in person. What's best for you? So you get them pinned down. If you don't get them pinned down on the appointment, You just say, well, I'll talk to you sometime. It's not gonna, you're gonna be chasing them around the block. That's not a good thing. Thank you. Was that helpful, Edie, for you?
Super helpful. Thank you
Yeah,
so
good.
much.
I'm glad. Anybody else with a question, thought, or comment, you can unmute yourself and speak up. I can't see anybody's hands raised, but you can try that too. Anybody realize that maybe they have a limiting belief around sponsoring or a fear of some sort? Stacy, thank you for your honesty about that. Would you let me
Hi.
unmute it? Hi.
Yes, I
What do you
am.
think?
Yeah, I probably, for me, it's probably more been situational. I was always a good sponsor and I've grown a successful business. But for me, I had my husband go through a major trauma. And since then, I've just found it very difficult to take on sponsoring, I suppose. Like I have still developed leaders and stuff in that time, but I think sometimes I get caught up in my anxiety and things that hold me back. And I don't want to do that because I want to offer the business to everybody. But yeah, I think sometimes I've stopped setting sponsoring goals because I just get let down or disappointed if I don't achieve them. And I want to be able to offer them, like offer the business to everybody. And I know how good it is and what's available. And then when I have sponsored, those people have, like I've seen their potential and then nothing's happened and then I feel more disappointed. So yeah, that's sort of what's been happening for me.
Well, thank you, Stacy, for your vulnerability, because this is a teaching tool for everybody. Because everybody's going to have people on their team that have things happen in their life, and their thoughts about sponsoring get a little bit turned around. And sometimes we feel responsible for everybody that we bring onto the team. And therefore, when they leave, we feel responsible that they left. So some people go out the back door. We start to believe we're really not that good at that. Maybe we shouldn't sponsor. So there's a lot of things that can mess up your head. A major situation in your family, and I'm gonna ask you to reframe that because you called it a trauma or a, what did you call it? Trauma?
Yeah, trauma. He had an accident and lost his right hand. So it was like it was a major change in our life.
So may I share a thought with you around that?
Yeah.
When you move it to a situation, it puts less angst on yourself. Every time when you say it's a trauma, you feel it all over again. And I've had a lot of things in my life with family members, my children, my grandchildren, that others would call a trauma. I never called it a trauma because I didn't want to feel it was a trauma.
That's a good
So
point.
it's a situation and you're
Yeah.
dealing with it.
Yeah.
So the fact that that happened during that time, you had a big focus on him, which I understand, and your family. And now that's sort of moving along. And let me ask you, what did this business do for you
Before or during?
for this whole time? You got started with this business, you built a business. What has the business done for you over the years?
It's changed my life totally. And honestly, without it during that time, I wouldn't have had an income. So it has really made a difference. I wouldn't have got through that time when he wasn't working and things like that if I didn't have that income and that support from the company itself.
So it has supported you financially and to make sure that you had an income. What else did you gain? Are you more confident because of the business?
100%. Yeah.
You have more confidence? Do you have more friends because of the business?
Yes.
Do you have more use of the products and enjoy your products more?
Yes.
Because you can get for a cheaper price. So it seems like there are a lot of things that this business has done for you. So when
Yes.
you don't invite other people or give them the opportunity, they're kind of missing out.
Yeah, I know that.
How does that feel?
Well, it feels not fair.
Mm. So when you were sponsoring and bringing people into your business and building leaders, um, what were you doing at that time? What were your activities?
I was being more consistent and I was I probably had a better routine and I was more present.
Mm.
in my business.
So what will it take to bring that back into your life?
Planning, goal setting, and just staying focused, even when things get derailed.
Hmm. How many of you have times in your life that you get a little derailed? Anybody raise your hand? Things happen to your children, maybe they're sick, to you. So something, everybody has things that happen. So guess what? When you keep letting the things that happen derail us, they're going to keep happening. So, and I know this was a major thing, a major situation, and you have gotten through most of it, and you were a good sponsor, and you shared the gift previously with a lot of people. How difficult do you think it would be if you went back to being consistent to grow a team again?
I think I just need to stop letting fear get the better of me.
Mm. What is fearful about it?
I think it's just overwhelming. That's what where the fear comes from, because it feels overwhelming because of the process when you bring someone in and then you give them your time and your energy and that sort of thing. I think that's where I'm just overcomplicating it.
Hmm. There's a reframe for the word overwhelmed. When people say, "How you feeling?" Overwhelmed. That's a very heavy, heavy feeling. And the reframe for that is, I have unlimited opportunities. I choose to prioritize. I have unlimited opportunities. I choose to prioritize. So I'm going to prioritize who I bring on to my team. And I'm looking for ready now people. I'm looking for people that have some self-starter in them, some resilience. What are the qualities of the people that you want on your team and that you feel could be successful in that team?
That part that you said was really helpful. Ready now, people.
Hmm.
Just some of the things that you talked about there made me really think about it. And I always do try to look for people specifically, more so than needy people. I don't like sponsoring needy people. I've learnt those lessons the hard way, like many people, I'm sure. But they still creep their way in sometimes when you feel like you haven't sponsored anybody and you go against your better judgment. So I have
Desperation.
done that too.
And by the way, everybody, desperation sparks hesitation in others. They either hesitate or they're a very needy person. When you're desperate, you're like a magnet to those people.
Yeah.
So you know what you're looking for. You just have held off in doing it. And what would you like your business to look like in another year? Your husband is doing well, family's doing well, he's back to work. All those things are kind of, you know, you're moving forward. What what would you like your business to look like, Stacy?
I want it to go back to at least what I had before, and if not more.
Hmm. So here's another reframe, Stacy. There's something called enlightened vocabulary that I know you and many, many, many people on this call could benefit from, because we have things that we say and we don't even realize what it does to us. When you say at least to what it was, and then but you added the part or better or more. So I I never put a cap on myself, and I'm hoping that you get that too. So that I am doing whatever that minimum was before, that amount of dollars and volume, and you're at that rank or more every month. That our businesses is producing this or more every month. Because it's like when people say they get to, thank you, Paula, for joining us. It's like when they get to the place of, my goal is to become a director, my goal is to become a director, my goal is to become a director, and they get to director and just pitch a tent and
Hmm.
stop working. And so it's what are you going to do when you become a director? What's next? How are you going to live that life from there going forward? So it's just something different. It's just another way of thinking about things. Stacy, I am holding your husband up in prayer and your whole family, and I feel like you're going to move past this.
I will.
Yes. What do you want differently for your family than what you're getting now?
I want to move forward. I want to not feel stuck. I want to just move forward and move, yeah, like keep going and, be grateful and be able to offer this to other people because I know what it's done for my life. And I do want to do that. I just need to stop holding myself back and, yeah, release the fear.
And what will that model? Do you have children, Stacy?
Not yet.
Okay, what will that model for your husband?
Well, that I'm there to support him and that our future, like, because he said to me after it happened, he did say something to me. He said, I ruined our lives. And I said, no, you didn't. It just might take us a bit longer to get where we want to go. That's one thing I said to him, but it
What
hasn't
is
ruined it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said to him at the time that it happened.
And so now for you to believe that, you're gonna, if you dig in and build this business, when he sees life easier and he sees the success happening there and he sees him getting back to more normal, how do you think that will impact your marriage?
It will have a lot more positive impact than, the struggles. That's for sure.
Mhm. Stacy, I can't wait to see what happens for you. I'm gonna write you a personal message in the chat box, and I'm gonna ask you to reach out to me directly because I have a couple of ideas for you.
Okay.
I'm putting it in there right now.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Anybody else? I had another hand up a little while ago. I know we're over time, and if you need to go, you can go. But if you're listening to how I'm coaching these people, you're going to understand for yourself how you can move yourself through these things. Because there's a whole, we cover this in the coach approach to sponsoring. Self-coaching skills will make a difference for you. They really will. So who else had their hand up or wants to ask a question or be coached around something? This is a freebie, you guys. Take advantage of it. There's some of you I've never met before. I'm so glad that you're here. But Andronette, I absolutely know. Miss Bridget, I always, boy, I've got a lot of good long-term friends on here tonight. Thank you for joining us. So who else? Anybody have a fear of being pushy? Anybody have a fear of no? Anybody uncomfortable with, I don't want to bother people? All those things are coachable moments. And if it's not you, it could be somebody else. Fear of annoying. Well, that's kind of the same as fear of being pushy. Darlene, are you okay if you talk?
Sure.
Okay, so what makes you think that people would think you would be annoying them?
I feel like they don't understand yet how great it is, like how great the business is, and so when I'm saying it, they're like, oh, she's just trying to get me to do something that I don't want to do.
Hmm. I can't wait for you. I know you're already registered for the
Yes, I can't wait.
because it's going to be so much simpler because you don't have to tell them it's great. You're going to learn how to engage them through asking them questions. What would be a great business for you? What would make you happy in owning your own business or bring you joy?
Mhm.
A little different. So when we do annoy people is when we keep trying to convince them,
Right.
so we're not going to convince, we're going to engage, and you're going to get exactly how to do that. So I think that will be gone after the first class.
Oh, really? That's exciting. I
Yes.
actually, I got a last minute vendor event last weekend and this weekend. And I overcame a lot of obstacles, which was awesome. And honestly, I sold a few things. That's That's good. But, and
And
what,
good guess. Uh-huh.
what really made me so happy was that I was like, okay, Darlene, you're learning how to talk to these people. You're going to talk to people. You're just going to, don't worry about the other stuff. Just have conversation with people. And I did. I mean, like people were telling me all sorts of, things. And I knew that that wasn't exactly yet the conversations like it. I not that I needed to have, but that I could navigate towards sponsoring, right?
Good
That
for you.
I know that I can, I just need to learn how to do that.
Well,
Because convincing, it makes me sick. I was just on a call before this, a training, and I'm like, they need to take Nikki's class, because I was like, this is so salesy, it was painful.
oh, that's not fun for you at all.
But so yeah, I'm excited for this class because I think
It will make you feel way more comfortable in approaching people and knowing you're not annoying.
yeah,
And they'll be happy to hear from you, which is exciting.
yeah.
Thank you, darling.
Yeah.
Anyone else? And Miss Dawn telling holes, and nice to see you here. Thank you. So come on, somebody speak up. This is your chance.
Nikki, this is Ernestine.
Hi, Ernestine. Thank you.
I didn't want you to, is it too late for me to ask my question now, or is it time?
Not at all. Go right ahead.
Okay, I had asked about when people say that they're not the sales type.
Yes. It's so interesting about that. So can you be that person that just said that to me?
Sure.
I'm just talking to you about the opportunity and you say, oh, I'm just not the sales type.
Oh,
Okay.
Nikki, I'm just not the sales type.
I'm curious, what does that sales type look like to you?
Most of the time, they are pushy. I just don't want to be that person that has to ask somebody to buy something from me.
I understand that. Tell me, when you really believe in something and you feel it's a really good product or it would be good for somebody else, how often do you share things like that?
Quite often.
So it just is meaning that you believe in it and you know it's a good thing. So it's not really selling it, it's just sharing that whatever that may be with that other person because you care about them. When you do that, you're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So when you think of a pushy person, now I'm going to take that separate. I just want to do this conversation with this person. So if I could show you how great these products are, Ernestine, what type of product do you sell, by the way?
Skincare.
Skincare. So if I could show you the benefits of this skincare product and you knew it worked for you and you were happy with it, who would you share it with?
My friends,
Hmm.
my
People,
family.
yeah, people you care about. It sounds like that'd be a good starting place because you'd want them to have good looking skin too and feel younger and have their skin be brighter and so on. Because I'm sensing you're the kind of person that is really good at being kind to people, like you care about people. So if you had used the product, you knew it was good, and you had the confidence that it was good for the person, you would share it first with your family and your friends. Where would you go next?
Well, that's probably where I would stop because I'm totally an introvert.
So how excited would you be if you learned to have more skills to be more outgoing?
I'm not excited, but I would
That's something we do in our company is we teach people how to meet more friends and how to connect with people faster and so on. And that's part of the education process that we have people go through. Because a lot of people, I was like that, even though I was the teacher, I was really good with kindergartners, but I wasn't so good with an adult person. And I learned because I practiced, I had a good teacher and she's still part of our team and I know she'd be happy to work with you too. So that's one thought is that if you got through the fear of not of being talking to people and the discomfort that I had to sell somebody something, but I get to share something that was good for them. It sounds like you kind of are working through that. Where are you sitting right now? How open are you to hearing the rest?
Very open because I'm open to change.
Wow, that is exciting for you. Now, by the reason when she used that word change, that told me something about her behavioral style. You really got to learn about behavioral styles, folks. And Katie just got a book. We got a whole bunch in on it's called Positive Personality Profile. You can buy it on our website. It is a very good book, and we teach in our coaching schools about understanding behavioral styles too. But that would be very helpful because who would use the word "I love change" would be an influential, outgoing, people-oriented person. But she also said, I think that was a real person that she was bringing through. But she also said, I'm kind of an introvert. So, you kind of, I think your real person kind of came out in that near the end, but that's okay. I'm glad. Um, anyway, so this is the idea. I'm not going to convince them because people try to convince somebody when they say, I'm not a salesperson. They say things like, well, the product sells itself. No, that's not a good thing to say. Or they say, well, you don't really have to sell anything. There's no requirements. But of course, you won't make any money if you don't want to say that. You won't make any money if you don't sell anything. So that's maybe not so good. So when someone says, I can't sell products, who do you share with that something that you believe in? But don't compare network marketing to or direct selling to the government. Well, the government, we have the president, the vice president, in the US. And so don't go down that road. Don't try to say, well, you really don't have to sell because the product sells itself. You don't, all you got to do is put something on Facebook. Don't tell them all that stuff. Let them see that if they are passionate about a product, their soul is going to be fed because they're giving something good to somebody they love and care about. It's a very different feeling. Ernestine, I so appreciate you asking that. Did that support you?
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else? Last question, comment, thought? I am hoping that you're all going to be in this upcoming class if you really want to get through this sponsoring thing, because it is not an easy deal to sponsor when we're trying to do it the way we used to. Lisa said, I already registered. Yay, I'm so glad. Somebody else registered while we were on this call too. That's very nice. I get to work with you. I'll get to know you. I love to get to know new people and how you function, and I can be of greater support to you when I do get to know you. So you can put your last comments in the box. We're right at an hour. I'm so happy that you joined us today. And I know we had some people, corporate people that were here. I'm glad that you joined us and that you're part of this class and all our returnees. And for each of you that spoke up, because, everybody gets to learn from the process. Bridget, have you taken this?
Yeah, I think I've taken everything you guys have had.
Coach to sponsor.
Yeah.
Well, we got some new things coming up, so that's going to be good.
Yeah, I wondered whether, it's been changed from, I think the last one was with Grace.
It's different every time, a little different every time, and it gets you back in the groove again. And it's different because of the people in the class and also because of our different styles. I think there's some good for every time you can do anything.
Well, plus I'm at a different place.
You are at a different place, yeah, and we gotta come in strong for the year end. I was gonna tell you also, we now, because we've had our coach schools for so long, we had so many couples that would come. We also have now Coach Excellence School for couples. And that has been a really fun class. It's not on the board yet, but it will be. And I've had single friends that said, golly, I don't want to go by and be a single. I said, let me just tell you something. You probably won't be a single for that long after you figure out how to communicate with somebody. So I'm not going to promise anything, but boy, I hope I have some single men show up. I got so many good women I know. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. You all take care. Have a good night. And you know what? Just have a blessed week and take time with the people you love. Love you all. Bye.